Hello, my name is Nicolas Polimenakos. I work behind the scenes here at NORWAC, the Northwest Astrological Conference. It's happening May 22nd to the 26th. Today I'm with Patrick Watson. Hi, Patrick.
Hi, Nicholas. Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. I'm glad to able to connect with you here. I just want to lead people to the website at norwac.net. This conference is sold out in person, but it is also available to view online. It's a hybrid conference. So if you're interested, go to norwac.net. You can go to the schedule, the speaker lineups, the lecture titles. We have pre and post conference lectures, etc., etc. Speaking of lectures, Patrick, you're doing two here during conference weekend. Friday, May 23rd, 2:45 p.m., exploring planetary activations. Let me just read the first part of this copy. It says, when is a planet active? Now, you already start off with the question. So tell us a little bit about the lecture.
Planetary activations, it's a name that I've given to a technique that you can read about in the work of second century astrologer, Hellenistic astrologer Vedius Valens. And it's very simple. It is looking at the times that a planet is active by when you reach the completion of its minor period and when you reach the completion of the ascensional time of the sign that it's located in. So it's kind of a proto form of like primary directions, but you're using the full rising time of the sign or the full minor period of the planet. And so you have these certain time units which are associated with each planet in your chart. And you can even combine these. So if you wanted to see when an aspect is active in your chart, um, say you have a Venus-Mars conjunction in your natal chart. Well, the minor period of Venus is 8, Mars is a minor period of 15, so 15 plus 8 is 23. So in the 23rd year of life, you would see an activation of
Ah,
that
okay.
Venus-Mars conjunction because you're adding the minor periods of those two planets together. And astronomically, it would resemble a Venus return or Mars return from those different points, 8 and 15. So it's a really fascinating technique that has a lot of different applications, and I have a lot of examples of it in action in people's charts and in people's lives. And I think it really adds another dimension to beyond just looking at transits and progressions, looking at activations of a planet uh, as it is in your natal chart.
Yeah, okay, that's good. It's interesting here. We get the different techniques that are out there from the more Hellenistic, classical, medieval to modern. But I think a lot of times as astrologers, we're always looking for the thread, and we're looking for, let's say, if we're one-on-one, we do one-on-one consultations. There's so much to look at, but how do we find where to walk to and to talk about with somebody, you know? And so something you just mentioned there, I can see the huge tool. To help you focus. Pick a couple things, and that's what you're going to go to the meat, and it's very connective. Anyway, yeah. So
Yeah, sorry to, it wasn't a very, I guess it wasn't a very good overview. Essentially, I'm going to be talking about this technique which combines minor periods and ascensional times.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
that's kind of the very simple uh, definition of it, and yeah, I find it's pretty fascinating. And
Yeah, and I know your work, and some of you people watching out there know Patrick's work, who've seen you do webinars and presentations. I do know the style of what you do, so the information's there. I know you take, you put in your work as for even the slides and the charts, to support everything. So saying
absolutely.
that, yes, yeah. Saying that, it's interesting here because then on Sunday you have the second lecture you're going to do. It's 3:45 p.m. Pacific. Introduction to Babylonian Goal Years, right? So correct me if I'm wrong here. We have another kind of a cyclical or a type of a
Yeah,
time-based zone. Yes.
yeah. The In a strange way, it's odd that I ended up doing two talks because these two talks are kind of complements of each other.
Hmm.
So the Babylonian Goal Years are recurrence periods of the planets that were discovered thousands of years ago by ancient Babylonian civilizations, and they were able to figure out with just cuneiform and clay tablets and their brains these long-term recurrences. So we know, for example, that Mars returns to the same part of the zodiac every 2 years, but it also returns to the same part of the zodiac every 15 years. That's what we know as the minor period. But it also makes a very close return, almost on the same date and almost the same part of the zodiac, almost to the same degree, after 47 years, as well as at 79 years. And there's a really fascinating kind of mathematical reason why these particular years turn out the way that they do, where you get a very close return of the sun and a particular planet at the same degrees almost.
Mhm.
But it turns out that it's not just a mathematical curiosity. It is also, these are also very astrologically potent times of, well, activation for those planets. So if you were born with a Sun Mars conjunction, say, well, age 47, like, is probably going to be a pretty major moment for what that Sun Mars conjunction means in your chart because when you turn age 47, when you get to that solar return, the sun and Mars are going to be right back where they were when you were born, and like very closely. And same thing at age 79.
I see.
Wherever those planets are in your chart, they're going to be coming back around, making the same phases that they were at the time of your birth. So if you know the all the Babylonian goal years, and someone or a client perhaps is reaching a particular age that just offhand is one of those Babylonian goal years, that is going to have a higher potential of um, bringing about what the meaning of that natal planet is in your
Sure,
natal chart.
sure. It's interesting because again, depending on different astrologies out there and stuff, we have these different places. Just dealing with just returns in general of planets, or someone were to just like they know when Saturn squares happen, or certain things like that. But that one's fascinating, by the way. That's a biggie. You got me thinking about when I was 47, and then I just
Really?
really outed myself
Wow,
right
you
there.
look
But
younger than
yeah.
47. I would have thought you
Yeah, when I'm
already
going
had
to
it.
turn 47.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You're
So
very youthful looking is what I'm
yeah,
saying.
well, thank you. Uh, so yeah, you're doing the lecture on Friday and Sunday, but also for those who don't know, if you're thinking about attending online, some interesting stuff that's happening besides the lectures. Everyone who's speaking at NORWAC is also going to be participating in these Q&A moments that happen in between the lecture tracks. And so, uh, Patrick, you'll be in a Q&A here on Sunday at noon. Um, it's yourself, Amani Harmon, Megna Baghat, Stormy Grace, and Lisa Scheim. And I have facilitated these last year. I'll be in some of them this year. So basically, some of the people watching online in the chat rooms present a question or two into the speakers, and there's kind of an improvisational conversation that happens, and they're very interesting where we end up by the end. And so you'll be doing one here. You'll be part of one on Sunday the 20th.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah, yeah, and it's
Definitely.
interesting too because you have different astrological minds from different things, and then they kind of chime in on that subject.
Yeah. Well, I hope I can contribute something worth listening to, but
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I'm sure I will.
Yeah, no problem. Again, if some again for those watching, norwac.net, May 22nd to the 26th. The interesting thing about the online part of the conference is I will be popping in and out. We're going to have like an open house kind of day on the Thursday before the conference starts. Saturday night is an online party. A fellow astrologer who facilitates, Samantha, will be there. I popped in and out last year. I was bringing in people from who were in person into the Zoom room on the Saturday night. Um, you can purchase the whole weekend. You can purchase by the day. You can purchase a pre-conference lecture on its own or post. You could do a combination thereof. I will tell you, if you purchase the 3 days and if you decide to go pre or post conference, you get a price break on that. You also get 2 weeks to view the conference after if you were to attend it. You have more time to check out the other lectures, right? Patrick, it's gonna be your first time there at NORWAC.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is gonna be my very first NORWAC. It sounds crazy. I've been in this space for about 20 years, but I've never gone to a NORWAC, and the main reason was that it always happened right at the end of the school year when I was still working as a teacher full
Oh,
time.
yeah.
And I was never out of, I was never able to get out at that exact time. There was kind of a few times in the school year where they didn't really like the teachers leaving it. And it always happened right in that in that window, so I was never able to go. But I'm a full-time astrologer now, so and I couldn't go because of the pandemic, and so this is kind of the first major, kind of outing I'll be having. I'll be coming out with my wife Beth
Oh,
at the
great. Yeah.
conference, and we'll both be experiencing it for the first time together. So
No, it's gonna be great to see you, Patrick. Just so you know,
me too.
too, the first time in person this year, I'm throwing a little get together on behalf of the conference for the first time, newbies of NORWAC. It's like on the Friday night for like 45 minutes in this room. I'm gonna have a little welcoming party. Since you're not only speaking for the first time, it's your first time, you got to come by.
Yeah, I'm a newbie. I will absolutely take on
Yeah, I'm trying
that.
to come up with a little something to give to everybody, something fun, you know. But
Thank you.
it's going to be great to see you there, Patrick.
Yeah, me too.
And hopefully, those watching, you're thinking about checking this out. Again, you go to norwac.net and see the speaker lineup, the lecture titles, the schedule, etc., and the registration. And on that note, I hope to see you there. And
Please come. Yeah,
yeah,
I can't wait to see you guys and see your questions and comments in the live chat. I promise I'll make my speeches as kind of interactive. I will not forget about you, virtual conference attendees. I will
thank you
make
for
sure
saying
it's worth
that.
your time.
Thank you for saying that, Patrick, because that's a thing. For those watching online, we actually have a room monitor in person in the lecture rooms who's on a computer watching in your chats. And there's times for questions for the speakers, their job actually is to try to relay a question from, the online viewer to the speaker itself. And so I'm glad that you mentioned that, Patrick, and that you're in tune with that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, see you on the next video, everyone. Bye.